You know what annoys me sometimes? You could just be going on about your life, minding your own business, renting out your damn cute apartment, and someone's gonna say, but you're paying off someone else's bond. You could be paying for your own bond instead. Guys, hey bro. First of all, it's not a fair comparison, okay? The actual cost of home ownership is so much more than just the home loan repayment. So you cannot compare the rental amount to a bond repayment.
It's not that simple, guys. It's really just not that simple.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Property Talk with Y'alls, where we equip you guys with the right knowledge to make better property investing and purchasing decisions. So for today's video, we are talking about the old age debate, okay? Let's just get this conversation out of the way once, okay? Is it better to rent or to buy a property? And my view is there's actually no right or wrong answer. It depends. And I have simplified it to these three factors. So timing, where you are in your life, affordability, and the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost, remember the term because I will break it down later on in the video. But the decision normally just depends on those three factors. Listen, there will be a time in your life when it makes more sense or more financial sense to rent, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And there will be a time when buying a property makes more sense, right? Because I know you guys, some of you will feel you will feel pressured to buy a home which you can barely afford because it's, I don't know, the cool thing to do, and then justify that by saying that it's an investment, blah, blah, blah. And I also think that society has this idea that people who own homes are automatically happier and more content with their lives versus people who rent. And I think we also sort of overestimate how much happier we will be when purchasing a home, which is the case for any high value material thing, right? Even if it's like a car. And we don't really consider the everyday issues and costs that arise with property ownership, because trust me, it can be a very stressful thing, especially if you are in a position where you are forcing things and you are not financially prepared. This is 2022, okay? We know better, and that's why we're here watching these videos, watching this channel, so that we're able to make better decisions. Okay, let's get into the crux of this conversation. So how I'm going to approach this topic is I'm going to touch on the three factors that I mentioned in the beginning, and hopefully through these scenarios you'll be able to see what it is that you need to look out for in your own life in order to better, gauge or understand whether it's better to buy a property or whether it's better to own a property, right? Obviously depending on the current stage that you are in your life. Listen guys, we all have different journeys, and I think it's very important that we stay true to whatever stage of your life that you are in. Even though it's better to look at the finances, I also do understand that owning a home is also a very emotional decision as well. And it's not easy for people to just look at the numbers. There are also some, I call them soft benefits, to having your own place that you can call home, and we really have to take that into consideration. Okay, so the first factor that we talked about is timing. And I think one of the key benefits of renting is increased mobility, right? You can easily end your lease agreement, pack your bags, okay, and move whenever you want. If you are at a stage in your life where you don't feel like you are ready to settle down in a specific city and you're open to changing and exploring jobs, you don't have any kids, etc., then renting might make more sense for you. You don't want a situation where you buy a home, then 3 years later you move somewhere else and buy another home. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? There are so many costs involved in buying and selling a property, and that model is just really not sustainable. Now, some people will say, cool, if you're moving, you could always rent your place out. Yes, that is true. But then in that case, you have to put on your property investing hat and be intentional about the type of property you are purchasing. Make sure you purchase a property in the right location, in a good neighborhood that is developing and appealing to tenants, a property that has a positive cash flow, or good odds of capital appreciation, because that's how you're going to make your money. So let me repeat. If you buy a home and you know you'll be there for less than 5 years, then be intentional, right? And think of it as purchasing an investment property from the beginning. Second factor is affordability. Now, there are obviously lower upfront and ongoing costs required to rent. For example, if you're going to rent an apartment, the only cost you have to worry about is your deposit, which is usually equal to 1 month's rent, and your monthly utilities such as electricity and water. And that's it. Whereas compared to buying a property, there are so many upfront costs that you have to be prepared for. I do have a video where I talk about the top 4 upfront costs. I'll link it down below. So not only upfront, but ongoing costs as well, such as rates, levies, insurance, etc. Right? So if you are not in a financial position to be able to comfortably afford these costs, then renting is a better option for you. Remember, guys, once you own a property, everything and anything that goes wrong, that is your cost, right? And I always encourage people to first sort out their finances. So for example, pay off your debt, be in a comfortable financial position before you even consider buying a property. Third factor is, this is my favorite one, opportunity cost of renting versus buying a home. As mentioned, there are far more costs involved in buying a property versus renting. So let's quickly imagine a scenario where there's a property you like and the rental is 7,000 Rand a month, right? If, however, you bought that property, you would have to pay your home loan repayment, your rates and taxes, your levies, your insurance, etc. And let's say all of that costs you 10,000 Rand. So there's basically a 3,000 Rand difference between renting and owning the same property. The question I always ask is, what is the opportunity cost of that additional 3,000 Rand? What if you invested that 3,000 Rand in stocks and you were able to get a 10 to 20% return a year? So rent for 7,000 Rand, invest the 3,000 Rand balance instead of owning a property and paying the 10,000 Rand towards your bond and other expenses. You'd obviously have to run the numbers, but in most cases, the additional investment with the 3,000 Rand might actually give you higher returns than the property that you own. So opportunity cost is very important, especially if your end goal is just to build wealth, right? People have different strategies and how you do it is up to you. You need to run the numbers and see what has the most ROI. Okay, so to summarize, when is the right time to buy a property? When you are financially ready and ideally have saved up a deposit, when your credit score is top notch and you are able to negotiate the best possible interest rate, right? Which means your monthly repayments will be lower. When you are ready to settle down and you know you'll be staying there for more than 5 years. Buying an investment property obviously is a whole different conversation, because you could buy investment properties and because you change your jobs every 2 years, you rent because that just works better for your personal life, right? As a rule of thumb, we can all agree the sooner you buy, the more money you will save on the property purchase price, the sooner you'll be done paying off your home loan, and the sooner you can begin building equity as well. But renting for the first few years of your life while trying to build your wealth, getting your finances in order, might just be a wiser decision as well. In closing, I think it's important to be true to your circumstances. Focus on getting your finances in check. I've said this a million times before buying a property. If you are still renting, let me know below what you are currently doing to, prepare yourself to purchase your first property one day. And if you have purchased a property, please do share some tips on the journey that got you there as well. Thanks for watching my videos and take care.